There was a couple that used to go to England to shop in beautiful stores. They both like antiques and pottery, especially teacups. This was their 25th wedding anniversary. One day in a beautiful shop, they saw an beautiful teacup. They asked the clerk, "May we see that? We have never seen one quite so lovely." As the lady handed to them, suddenly the teacup spoke. "You don't understand," it said. "I haven't always been a teacup. There was a time when I was red and I was clay. My master took me and rolled me and patted me over and over, and I yelled out, 'Let me alone.' But he only smiled and said, 'Not yet.' Then I was placed on a spinning wheel and suddenly spun around and around and around. 'Stop it, I'm getting dizzy,' I screamed. But the master only nodded and said, 'Not yet.' Then he put me in the oven. I never felt such heat. I wondered why he wanted to burn me, and I yelled and knocked on the door. I could see him through the opening and I could read his lips as he shook his head, 'Not yet.' Finally, the door opened. He put me on a shelf and I began to cool. 'There, that's better,' I said, and he brushed and painted me all over. The fumes were horrible. I thought I would gag. 'Stop it,' I cried. He only nodded, 'Not yet.' Then suddenly he put me back into the oven, not like the first one. This was twice as hot, and I knew I would suffocate. I screamed and I cried. All the time I could see him through the opening, nodded his head, saying, 'Not yet.' Then I knew there wasn't any hope. I would never make it. I was ready to give up, but the door opened, and he took me out and placed me on a shelf. 1 hour later, he handed me a mirror and said, 'Look at yourself.' And I did. I said, 'That's not me. That couldn't be me. It's beautiful. I'm beautiful. I want you to remember.' Then he said, 'I know it hurts to be rolled and battered, but if I had left you alone, you would have dried up, and I know it made you dizzy to spin around on the wheel, but if I had stopped, you would have crumbled. I knew it hurt and was hot and disagreeable in the oven, but I hadn't put you there. You would have cracked. I know the fumes were bad when I brushed and painted you all over, but I hadn't done that. You never would have hardened. You would not have held. Now you're a finished product. You're what I had in my mind when I first began with you.' So, moral of the story is that God knows what He is doing for all of us. He's the potter and we are His clay. He will mold us and make us so that we may be made into a flawless piece of work to fulfill His good, pleasing, and perfect will.